What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Salt and Pauper video. Today we are going to conclude our Pauper set review for Phyrexia All Will Be One by talking about our favorite cards, our picks for the most playable cards of each color in the set, and then you guys are going to vote on which you think is actually the best and what you think is going to see the most play. So without any further ado, Josh, why don't you go ahead and kick us off with your first best of pick?
Round one.
All right, my first best of in white here is Mandible Justiciar. I know we talked about it when we were originally looking through these, and I haven't really changed my mind on this card. I like it. It's got the right cost, it's got relevant ability, and it's got another relevant ability with relevant power and toughness. Like, this is what we want in Pauper. We want good cards that are exciting to play, and they get your brain moving. Just whenever another artifact enters, simple enough to brew with like the clowns or the artifact clowns that
Clowning around is so good.
right that we I guess just recently got.
Yeah.
It's
Just
hasn't been that
imagine
long.
what's the best turn 2 you can do in this? You go like land Springleaf Drum, land Justiciar, and then on turn 3 you go artifact land, clowning around to hit 3, tap one of them, second clowning around to hit another 3. So that's 7 triggers. So you attack for 9 on turn 3 with lifelink. Is that the best case scenario without going into like Lotus Petal shenanigans and
I
mana?
was gonna say Lotus Petal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good to have. 9 is not a small number on turn 3,
Especially
so
with lifelink.
yeah, right. I will take an 18-point swing any day.
Fair enough. All right, my pick for the best card in white, or at least the most playable card in white, is actually going to go to Crawling Chorus, the new 1-drop that makes a Phyrexian Mite. Now, at first glance, this doesn't seem super exciting, but 1-drop, 1/1 for Toxic 1 is actually quite efficient for mana cost, at least in terms of what we had seen throughout Phyrexia All Will Be One. Usually you'd get 2 drops Toxic 1. The toxic damage would kind of equal the amount of physical damage they're doing, and this is one of the rare ones that actually deals more poison than it does physical. And also, this is probably the most similar to cards we already see play, so I'm looking at this card very similar to something like Haunted Witness, or
There's another cat that makes a 1/1 with lifelink, and I think there's a one that makes a vampire.
that's Haunted Witness.
Yeah.
Yeah, so looking at this, I compare it to, Hunted Witness. It's a 1/1 that makes a 1/1 when it dies, except this one has a little bit better on offense, obviously, right? Because the 1/1 body deals an effective 2 damage with a single poison counter, and then the Might that it leaves behind also deals an effective 2 damage with an additional poison counter. It's still 2 1/1 bodies for 1 white mana, which is very efficient. So I think this one's probably going to be the most likely to see play from white here. Definitely not the most exciting card, but it is efficient and kind of, on rate enough that I think it should find a home in a couple of white decks. Moving on to blue.
Round two.
My pick for the best blue card is actually going to be Prologue to Phyresis. I think this is a pretty open and shut case for the best card in the set. Getting a poison counter at instant speed without having to deal combat damage is massive. It replaces itself. It's a very efficiently costed cantrip. The only thing that could make this better is if it didn't cost 2. If it only costed 1, this card would be absolutely bonkers. As it stands, 2 mana is perfectly reasonable for this, maybe even a little undercosted. And I'm all about it. I'm excited to see what this card does in the format.
And mine is Experimental Augury. Turns out Impulse is good, and then also getting free counters is good if you already have some. Looking at the top 3, It's not really too different from 4. Just do this end of turn, and it's kind of like Impulse.
Yeah,
Ah.
Impulse is a good card. And Instancy Proliferate is like a pretty significant change to what we previously had available at Pauper level with Proliferate. It was stapled onto a bunch of sorceries in like Mirrodin Besiege, but we didn't have it at instant speed hardly at all. So definitely getting some
Yeah.
instant speed Proliferate options is super interesting here.
Yeah, but I just think Experimental Augury is pretty sweet. Just having the card selection does put them on the bottom of your library, so you're only putting the one card in your graveyard for things like the Tellurian Terror. But I mean, this is really good for control.
Yeah, probably.
Hmm.
So is Prologue. I think they're both kind of in similar decks, probably even together.
Oh, absolutely
Great
together.
cards next to
They
each other.
feed off of each other.
All right. Why don't you take the lead for black? What's your pick for black?
Round 3.
All right. So this is the one that I was alluding to from even the first video of this set review. And this is Vraska's Fall. Costs 2 and a black, making your opponent sacrifice a creature. I mean, if they have Rent a Common Planeswalker, you could make them sacrifice that. And
Oh
then,
God, don't do that, please.
look, man, it's gonna happen.
No, God, I
And
hope not. That's
and the fact,
not okay.
yeah, and then you just give them a poison counter. So blue black specifically has the tools for doing a creature list. Like it's got good tools. Like you said, there's a creatureless infect deck. I would be very surprised if Vraska's Fall is not in it.
Oh, it's definitely in it.
Mhm.
But so is my card for black, which is Whisper of the Dross. Whisper of the Dross, so 1 mana, 1 black, instant. So just single black instant. Target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn and proliferate. So jumping on to kind of what I said about blue for Experimental Augury, instant speed proliferate, something we didn't really have a ton of access to. Now we're getting a few cards with it kind of tacked on there. I also think this card's incredibly relevant in the metagame right now. -1/-1 might not deal with Swift Spear, but there are a lot of goblin tokens running around, and being able to, kill off a goblin while ticking up either the opponent poison or your own 1/1 counters if you've got kind of an aristocrats thing going on with like some carrion feeder action, anything like that. Also, if you're running any like amount of undying, being able to proliferate the +1/+1 counters on your creatures is super good. So I think it kind of fits into that like mono black sacrifice deck, working with like Mortician Beetles, Carrion Feeders, even like Young Wolf, that kind of stuff. And then also has relevance with how rampant goblins are. It also picks off a Clark Clan Shaman, which is not nothing. So keep that in mind. The card -1/-1 might not seem like a lot, but there are a lot of good 1/1s in the format. Picking off a Spellstarter Sprite, a Delver, a Clark Clan Shaman, a 1/1 Goblin to help you kind of stabilize the board a little faster against Koldatha Red. There's a lot of good targets for this. So that's my pick for black.
Round 4.
Moving into red, I got lucky here. I think this is easily the best red card. I actually even under evaluated it in the card review. It is Blazing Crescendo. This card is an absolute slam dunk. I originally read this card as a synthesizer trigger or an impulse, so I thought it was exile the top card of your library until the end of turn. You may play that card. It is not. It is until the end of your next turn.
Yes.
Which is absolutely bonkers. This card is a slam dunk. It is so good. You guys remember Kiln Fiend? Because he's coming back with a vengeance with this card. Kiln Fiend, Festival Crasher, Monastery Swiftspear, all of those just eat this up. It is more card advantage for red. It did not need more card advantage, but it's getting it. this card is already, people are getting foils of this card to put in their decks for play on over the weekend. So buckle up, this is gonna see play for sure.
Yeah, and I I mean, we talked about this, and we talked about how we're gonna not necessarily break it, but how it could be broken. My card is Barbed Batterfist. This is the 4 Mirrodin equipment, the only really usable one. It's got the Skull Clamp stats, +1/-1, and equipped for 1.
Good card. Good card.
Yeah, I'm
Skull Clamp,
happy.
not this one.
Oh yeah. I'm more than happy paying 2 mana for a 2/2. But then paying 2 mana for a 3/1, Blade of the Sixth Pride. It's nothing to shake a stick at. But what I like about this is that creature that you get is, it's a 3/1 that can swing in, and then it has the ability to be a 2/2 to where it just doesn't run into your 1/1s, which is something that those other 2-drops don't have. Plus, if we can blink this at all, just blink it once, and you're in the money. Like just getting any amount of tokens off of this is just
yeah, cha-ching, man. Value
yeah,
Town population
just
you. I actually think the best case for this card, the best case scenario is actually not to attack with a 3/1. It's to pay 2 mana and then pay 1 mana and basically say put a +1/-1 counter on a creature you control, make a 2/2. I think the 2/2 in this format is actually significantly better than a 3/1, and I think a lot of the times you're going to want to unequip this to keep the 2/2 token more than you're going to want a 3/1. But yeah, this card comes with a lot of stuff, so I'm sure it'll find a home somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Round 5.
Let's see what you got for green.
Slim pickings is what I got for green.
Yeah, green really feels like it's been done dirty at least the last couple of sets, right? It was super dry in Dominaria United. It was non-existent in Brothers War, and this one, I mean, there really wasn't much. There's a couple of really spicy cards for limited, perhaps a couple of spicy cards for Pauper EDH, maybe. But in terms of Pauper constructed, man, it's rough out here for a green player.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it because I'm not a green player. But I'm certain there are people out there somewhere. I don't know, living
more of your decks
less of a
have
good
green
life.
cards than decks without them.
No, remember I told you I took apart some today.
I'm pretty sure it's still in favor of green cards. But anyway, what is your green pick here? What do you got?
Don't even worry about that part. So my green pick is Copper Longlegs. It's colorless and a green if you get a 1/3 reach. Not that big of a deal. And you can pay 2 and sacrifice it to proliferate. I think if fairies ever makes a comeback, and if you're in a deck that needs counters, this is really good.
Yeah,
This
kind of hits all
blocks
the angles.
literally everything that fairies sends at you. They have to remove it. And if you have mana up, you're just able to, do something. Usually get value off of the thing that they were going to try and remove anyways. You're good. This card is going to let you do that.
I have a counter argument for you, and a reason why you should not vote for this card, which is it's a Phyrexian Spire. I am 100% not on board with that. That sounds horrifying. No, thank you. But as we kind of hinted at before, instant speed proliferate. I mean, you sacrifice it for a proliferate trigger is not nothing, and yeah, like you said, it blocks fairies and ninjas pretty well. So good choice for green. Good choice for green. Mine is Thirsting Roots, which is a card we kind of compared to Abundant Harvest in the set review. It is a choose one that lets you choose between searching for a basic land and putting it in your hand, or proliferating for a single green. So it is another one of those cheap kind of utility proliferate spells similar to Whispers of the Dross, my black pick. So you can kind of see the angle I'm taking there for my more playable card choices. I'm going for kind of efficiently costed and versatile spells. Really trying to maximize my chances of landing on some cards that wind up in decks. So I think this card has a lot of value built into it. I think that sometimes you're gonna have to find a land with it, and that's fine. Most of the time, this is gonna read 1 green proliferate, and that's a really solid rate considering that like a significant number of the common infect cards all are green. You've got Glistener Elf, you've got Blight Mamba, and then you've got a couple of the artifact ones like Ichor Clomber and stuff that you can play in that same deck. So I think Proliferate has a lot of value in green, especially with colors. You've got Pollen Bright Druid, you've got Bloom Hulk, you've got a lot of other Proliferate triggers in green already, so you can really start to stack up 1/1 counters, things like Phantom Tiger, or what have you. But yeah, I think 1 mana Proliferate is going to be really, really strong, so I went with a couple options for that. So as kind of a nod, if you watched our colorless review, there's not a whole lot of cards that we're in favor of in colorless, 0 in fact. But as a runner-up, we're not gonna have a vote for the most playable colorless card. We're just gonna give a honorable mention to the draw land cycle. I think if anything is going to see play from the colorless cards, it's probably the draw lands, but that's not to say that they're the best. That being said, they are really pretty, and I'll probably order a playset of foils of each just to have them available should I be horribly wrong, but who knows. But it is now time to vote, so go down into the comments, let us know which of each color you think is the best card, and whether or not maybe we missed one. Do you think something else deserved the title of the best card? And let us know below. So as usual, guys, thank you so much for sticking around. I hope you enjoyed the Phyrexia All Will Be One Pauper set review. Good luck in your release events this coming weekend. And as usual, guys, goodbye forever, unless I see you next time.